Would everyone please remain standing as the Salina High School Central Band and Orchestra, led by Mr. Ben Rohr and Miss Lindsay Modine play the national anthem.
Justice Law Nuss, Dr. Stephen Hawley, Assistant Principal Kelly Reiser, Assistant Principal Clay Neville, and our Senior Principal Seated behind our graduates this evening, you will find our incredibly talented and faculty and staff. Thank you for being here today to celebrate the class of 2021. Finally, I'd like to give a special acknowledgement to senior class sponsor, Dr. Worth, who has played such a crucial role in making this graduation a success. Graduates, in 1988, I was sitting in the Salina Bicentennial Center waiting to graduate from Salina Central High School. Since my graduation from high school, I've learned three things. First, Salina Central High School has prepared you academically, socially, and emotionally for the next steps in your life, whatever that may be. Secondly, in the movie industry, they say there are 3 degrees of separation between Kevin Bacon and everyone else in the industry. I have learned there are 3 degrees of separation between Salina, Kansas, and the rest of the world. It seems like being from Salina has connected me with people all over the world. Be proud of being from Salina. It is your connection to the rest of the world. Finally, many of those who graduated from this high school have gone on to do great things. I know we have prepared you to do great things, so go out and be great. Thank you and good luck. Senior band and orchestra members, please join the band for your final performance. This evening, the band and orchestra will be playing songs.
Orchestra members, please return to your seats. At this time, please welcome Ms. Avery Darby, who will deliver today's first graduate address.
Good evening. My name is Avery Darby, and I have the privilege of being one of tonight's student speakers. To begin, I would like to send my gratitude to those who assisted in making today's celebrations possible, such as our members of the Board of Education, esteemed faculty and staff, and of course, our friends and family. Standing before you all, a sense of disbelief surges through me. Knowing the entirety of our lives thus far has finally arrived thoroughly shocks me, as I'm sure it does too as well. As we depart from these celebratory walls, we officially assume our place in the real world. For the longest time, I thought that the ability to go to Petco and buy a fish without parental consent marked the beginning of adulthood. But these last 4 years have taught us all that our future does not arrive along with our diploma. As we mature into our positions, we inherit the responsibilities of being grown-up, which contains more than scheduling our own doctor's appointments. Rather, we are tasked with the ultimate burden of pushing society forward. Suddenly being gifted this important chore could surely cause anyone to buckle under the pressure, and it seems many do. Once an adult, complacency takes hold, and shrugging off the challenges of today, hoping the upcoming generation will take hold and advance humanity becomes increasingly easy. Being presented with an abundance of new duties, it naturally comes easiest to tackle the little things first, putting aside the bigger picture until the timing becomes more convenient. First, we must settle into the new routine of post-high school life, and then we'll be able to initiate change. The hectic lifestyle of newfound adulthood becomes all-consuming, so ambition must once again be pushed aside. College, marriage, children, new jobs, the traditional qualities of life will always seem of most importance, while the overarching goal fades away, serving as a reminder of a naive and over-ambitious young spirit. Our graduating class, however, will fail to fall in line with those before us. Adulthood stood as our light at the end of the tunnel, not because we could not stand to wait to get a tattoo or piercing, but because we knew our voices could no longer be silenced. Unique to us is our refusal to let our aspirations morph into malarkey. What others may view as impatience and disobedience, we perceive as enthusiasm to depart from the status quo in order to spark actual change. Parting from tradition fails to scare us into compliance, as we have a drive to mold humanity into a shape more fitting of our dynamic ideals. As we move past high school to wherever we may be going, I urge us all to continue to disrupt the mundane current so many fall prey to. To say now is our time to start dreaming big would be to invalidate the change already grown within us. Grab your longing for reform and shove it into the face of those who hold tradition higher than progress. Let us be the graduating class to take on the burdens of today's society, and rather than push those worries aside until another new, ambitious group comes along, invoke an unstoppable revolution.
It's my honor to introduce our first guest speaker. After graduating from Salina High School in 1970, Chief Justice Lawton R. Nuss earned his undergraduate and law degrees from the University of Kansas. After KU Law School, Chief Justice Nuss worked for 20 years as a trial attorney in his hometown of Salina. He worked on all types of court cases for a wide range of clients, including the Salina School District. Nuss was appointed to the Kansas Supreme Court in 2002, becoming the first justice in nearly 25 years to advance directly from the practice of law to the Supreme Court. In January 2010, he began serving as Chief Justice, the head of the judicial branch of the state government. For the next 10 years, Chief Justice Nuss led the Supreme Court in exercising administrative authority over all courts in Kansas. For the first time in the Supreme Court's 150-year history, he brought the court from its Topeka courtroom to hear its faces in other towns. He did this so more Kansans could see firsthand who their 7 justices were, what they did, and how they did it. The first town he chose to help make this history was Salina. In addition to these duties as Chief Justice, he helped decide 17,000 court cases and wrote more than 300 published decisions. Chief Justice Nuss's leadership has been nationally featured on the front pages of the New York Times and in the New Yorker magazine. At the invitation of the National Conference of Chief Justices, he has lectured on leadership to his fellow Chief Justices from across the country. At this time, would you please welcome our first keynote speaker, Lawton Nuss.
Good afternoon, Mustangs. Come on, folks. This is supposed to be a happy occasion. Seniors, after 13 years of school, you are about to be set free. And you parents, after 18 years, you are about to move your child out of your house. So we're going to try this again. I'm going to count to 4, and as soon as you hear me start forward, I'm going to point. And I want everybody in this room, including the Marine, to yell Mustangs. Maestro, a little drum roll, please. 1, 2, 3, Mustang! One more time. 1, 2, 3, Mustang! Thank you. It's been said that a commencement speaker should be like the corpse at a funeral. Everybody needs you there in order to have the service, but nobody expects you to say very much. So what message can I deliver in about 5 or 6 minutes? Well, that message begins with my growing up in North Salina, at the very end of Santa Fe. I attended Parkview grade school there. I had about 18 kids in my entire grade. And the building was in such bad shape that when I was in the 4th grade, the school board closed the school. And they transferred us to Hawthorne grade school. And I got worried because Hawthorne had about 50 kids in my grade. I thought they were going to be smarter than me because I came from such a small school. Well, that same worry got bigger every time I went to a school with more and more students. I went to Roosevelt Lincoln Junior High School. We had about 400 kids in my grade. Then on to Salina High School, about 700 students in my grade. How could I possibly compete? Then on to KU, 20,000 students. Then the Marine Corps, trying to match up against people from all 50 states. Then KU Law School. Now here, it wasn't so much the number of the students as it was their ability and their ambition. 2 of my classmates went on to become United States senators. Another classmate became an Army general. And still another became the Attorney General of the state of Kansas, to say nothing of all of those who became law professors and judges. Now, please know that law school had been my dream, my absolute dream for 10 years. And in order to pay for it, I saved most of the money that I had earned during my 4 years in the Marine Corps. So I want you seniors to know that in my very first semester, I came this close to just quitting. I didn't like it, and it was very hard. But I thought it was worthwhile, so I stayed. Let me also admit to you that several times since I graduated from high school, I've said to myself, wait a minute, I'm just a kid from North Salina, Kansas. And I worked on dairy farms during the summers of my high school. I put up hay and milked cows 7 days a week. And I shoveled a lot of manure for $1.25 an hour. Just who do I think I am with all these talented people around me? Well, I asked myself that same question recently when I was in Washington, D.C., in the United States Supreme Court. As Chief Justice of Kansas, I sat at a dinner table with the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, Jr. And we had a nice visit. Then, after dinner, I stood up, I went to a lectern about like this, and I gave my speech. And the Chief Justice, the top judge in America, had to sit there, just like you are, and listen to me talk. It was not the same speech. But I'm sure it was just as boring as my speeches tonight. So how did good things like this happen to me? Well, I wish I could say I was just brilliant and everything came easily. And that every time I ever tried anything, I was successful. Never made a mistake. Well, yes, I was blessed with a few talents and I worked hard, but that's not always enough. Sometimes you have to have some luck. And sometimes you have to work to get yourself in a position where luck can find you. So when it does, you can take advantage. Most of all, you have to try. President Theodore Roosevelt spoke about this many years ago, and although he talked about males, it applies equally to females. He said it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out that the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of the deeds could have done them better. No, the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who tries valiantly, who makes errors, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and without falling short. The credit must go to the man or the woman who does actually strive to do the deeds, unquote. Roosevelt then said that you may achieve great things, or you may fail, but you tried. And if you fail, at least you failed while daring greatly. As I said, in the 7th grade, I attended a Salina school named after Theodore Roosevelt. So maybe his words are what encouraged me 26 years ago when I first applied to become a judge and failed. In fact, I tried and failed 3 different times in 5 years. Each failure was well publicized throughout all of Kansas. Now that was embarrassing. But I tried again 2 years later, and I became a justice on the Kansas Supreme Court. Maybe I was also motivated by the motto of my old Marine Corps unit. It's Latin, Fortes Fortuna Juvat, which sometimes is translated as fortune favors the bold. So be bold. And stretch yourself to see what you're capable of doing. That means try. Time and time again, year after year, where things are not certain, where the risk may be great, and where you may fail, but where the rewards may be large. Now, I know your class has met some big challenges head on, especially these last 2 years. There are more to come. Embrace them. Keep getting in that arena. And keep getting some dust. And keep getting some sweat. And maybe even a little blood on your face. Because like Roosevelt also said, the only person who never makes mistakes is the person who never does anything. With that message, I wish you all Godspeed, and go Mustangs.
Thank you, Chief Justice Nuss. Our next keynote speaker and honored guest is Dr. Stephen A. Hawley. Born on December 12, 1951 in Ottawa, Kansas, Dr. Hawley considers Salina to be his hometown. After graduating from Salina High School in 1969, Dr. Hawley went on to earn his Bachelor of Arts degree in Physics and Astronomy, graduating with the highest of distinction. From the University of Kansas in 1973, he earned his Doctor of Philosophy degree in Astronomy and Astrophysics from the University of California at Santa Cruz in 1977. In 1978, Dr. Hawley was selected as a NASA astronaut. He logged more than 32 days in space, a total of 770 hours and 27 minutes. Dr. Hawley completed 5 space shuttle missions in all. After completing these missions, Dr. Hawley became NASA's Director of Flight Crew Operations at Johnson Space Center in Houston. His long and distinguished career includes many achievements and honors. He was inducted into the Kansas Aviation Hall of Fame in 1977 and the Astronaut Hall of Fame in 2007. In the fall of 2008, Dr. Hawley returned to Kansas to teach and promote education in science and math at the University of Kansas. He retired from the active faculty at KU in 2018. He is currently a member of the Board of Directors of the Kansas Cosmosphere and the Chairman of the KU Astronaut Scholarship Nominating Committee. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to tonight's second keynote speaker, distinguished guest, and Salina Central Mustang, Dr. Stephen A. Hawley.
Thank you all very much. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and let me start by just adding my congratulations to the Central Class of 2021. Well done. It's natural, I guess, that I would try to think back to my own high school graduation, even though it was 52 years ago. This building didn't exist, and so our ceremony was held at the football stadium. I remember that. I remember being there. I remember how it was laid out. And actually, I also remember who the commencement speaker was. It was the Honorable Robert Dole. At the time, he was a congressman from representing the district that included Salina. But after that, I don't remember anything he said. So, I decided, with the help of the Dole Institute at KU, to see if I could get a copy of his remarks. And I was successful, so I was able to read what he had said to us all those years ago. And I want to quote something that Senator Dole said. Quoting, "And in a few more years, on a day like today, one of you may stand before this podium addressing another graduating class. Whichever one of you that speaker is will have gained hopefully something more than wrinkles and a few gray hairs over the years, and will have something more to pass along to the graduating class." End quote. I imagine I didn't remember he said that because I was sure that it wouldn't apply to me at all. But here I am. I've got the wrinkles, I've got the gray hair, and maybe I have something worthwhile to share. I will see. I would forecast that for most of you, the future will reveal itself in ways that you haven't anticipated. And that was certainly the case for me. Less than 2 months after my high school graduation, I was sitting in the family room in my parents' house in South Central, watching Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin land on the moon. I followed the space program closely when I was in high school, and truthfully, I had dreamed about becoming an astronaut. But in those days, the astronauts were military test pilots, and I didn't want to be a military test pilot. I wanted to be an astronomer. I had thought, though, while I was in high school, that one day we'd want to put telescopes in space, and maybe there'd be a role for an astronomer who was willing to go to space and operate these telescopes. Maybe I could do that if I got lucky one day. But back in 1969, someone would come up to me at my commencement and said, "You know, one day you're going to be selected to be an astronaut and you're going to get to meet Neil and Buzz. I wouldn't believe it. Furthermore, someone said, not only are you going to be an astronaut, but you're going to work on telescopes in space. I certainly wouldn't believe that. And if they had said you're going to be selected to be an astronaut and you're going to fly 5 space stations, and there'll come a time when you won't be able to remember when they were or what you did, I really wouldn't remember that. But due to the good preparation I got at Salina High, KU, UC Santa Cruz, along with a fortuitous set of circumstances, I was privileged to be selected to be a NASA astronaut in 1978. And in 1977, I was looking, as most of my colleagues were, as we were in our last year of grad school, for a job. And the way that worked in those days was you'd go down to the department office, you'd look at a bulletin board, and there'd be letters on the bulletin board from different places that had jobs for new PhD students. And so I was doing that one day, and what caught my attention was a letter that had NASA at the top. And it said that NASA was beginning to solicit applications for people to become astronauts for this new thing called the space shuttle. And for the first time, you didn't have to be a pilot. You could be a scientist. And I remember dropping everything I was working on so I could go request an application to fill it out and send it to NASA. Now, I did not expect that I had a chance, but I knew that if this thing turned out to be real, there would be people doing things in space, including telescopes and building space stations, and I thought that would be a fabulous thing to be a part of. But I knew they didn't need me. But I also knew that I couldn't do it myself if I didn't try. If NASA had said, hey, makes the plan, we're not really interested, that's what I expected, and that would have been okay. But if I had gone out in my life and watched this happen, knowing that I could have tried to be part of it and I didn't, I knew I couldn't do that. I never expected when I graduated Salina High to have a chance to apply. And so let me suggest that you probably don't know all of the opportunities that you may encounter as you go forward. So be prepared. Be prepared as you can be to take advantage of those opportunities. For me, I was in the right place at the right time. And through good preparation and good fortune, I was able to have the career that was really the career of my dreams. So last month was the 31st anniversary of the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope. And my crewmates from that mission and I were exchanging notes on the day of the launch and sharing stories about what we remembered about the mission. And I shared a story that happened a few years ago when I was teaching my astronomy majors class at KU. And I was talking about some of the discoveries that Hubble was making, and I talked about how we took the telescope to orbit in 1990. And then suddenly I stopped, and I looked out over my class of students, and I suddenly realized the telescope was there before any of them were born. So as far as they knew, it was always there. And so I'm going to tell you what I told my class that day. The Hubble Space Telescope started as a vision by a famous astronomer who wrote a paper in 1946 talking about the advantages of having a large telescope in space. That paper and that vision was an important start, but it took more to make HST a reality. So the astronomy community, and in particular several prominent astronomers in the 1950s and 1960s, advocated for Dr. Spitzer's vision. That advocacy paid off, and in 1973, NASA formally began to study what a large telescope in space would be. In 1977, Congress allocated funds for the first time for building the thing that became the Hubble Space Telescope. But it would be 13 more years of hard work and overcoming challenges before we launched it in 1990. And then after we placed it in orbit, it was discovered that while the mirror was ground to a precision of 10 nanometers, it was ground to the wrong shape. So we had to figure out a plan to restore Hubble's vision. That was accomplished by another mission in 1993. And over the years that we were flying the space shuttle, we had to deal with other Hubble failures, Hubble upgrades, and that took 5 more space shuttle flights over the first 19 years of HST's operation. With the end of the space shuttle program, we're no longer able to go to Hubble to upgrade it and make repairs, but that doesn't mean that we've stopped dealing with the issues that Hubble presents. After all, it's been there 31 years, it's an aging instrument, it was originally supposed to work for 15, and the environment in which it has existed for those 31 years is very harsh. But because of the hard work of a team of dedicated individuals over 3 decades, we have a telescope in space that is better than when we launched it 31 years ago and still very state-of-the-art science. So, my message to you today is this. Great things don't just happen. The Hubble Space Telescope, arguably the most important scientific instrument ever built, exists because there was a vision. People promoted the vision. And people with expertise got together and worked as a team under skilled, dedicated leaders. The team overcame many challenges. They were patient, they were disciplined, they were persistent. Perhaps some were discouraged from time to time, but they didn't quit. The collective effort that started 75 years ago has totally changed our understanding of the universe. In his address to my high school graduation, Senator Dole discussed some of the problems that the country was facing at the time. He specifically mentioned the Vietnam War, unrest on college campuses, the draft, and the fact that we all needed to know that the government can't solve every problem. Senator Dole concluded his remarks in our graduating class by saying, quote, "We have only to look at the most recent Apollo flight to know what remarkable achievements this nation can accomplish, given adequate leadership, national resolve, and personal courage." Although Senator Dole was referring to the problems facing the nation in 1969, he was making essentially the same point that I was emphasizing to my astronomy class, and I'm sharing with you this evening. So as you go forth to make change for the better, remember that great things don't just happen. They're a result of vision, advocacy, diligence, teamwork, leadership, patience, and persistence in the face of adversity. Find a way in which you can contribute to making a difference. Be part of something great. The fact that you're here today demonstrates that you have overcome the adversity of having to finish high school during the global pandemic. You persisted and didn't give up in the face of that challenge. As Senator Dole told my graduating class, one of you may be standing at this podium in a few years sharing something worthwhile with a new generation of high school graduates. As you all launch on your own individual missions of discovery and exploration, I wish you good luck and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hawley. Our final student address of the evening will be delivered by Ms. Emily Stroman.
Good afternoon. My name is Emily Sherman, and I am a proud member of the Salina Central class of 2021. Let me start by thanking all of you for being here. Members of the Board of Education, school staff, faculty, distinguished guests, and of course, friends and family. I would like to congratulate my fellow classmates. Trust me, this year wasn't easy. Around this time last year, we went into quarantine for the first time. We got to say hello to Zoom, and life changed for us. Through it all, we held our heads high, ready to wipe our tears, and knew that we would have to say goodbye to the Central High we truly remembered a little bit earlier. Saying goodbye to high school means saying goodbye to the life we have all grown to love, or hate. Friday tests, but always having a football game to look forward to. Dramatic breakdowns because we foolishly decided to take 2 math classes. Algebra 2 trig, I won't be missing you, sorry. And I don't imagine any of us will be will miss embarrassing ourselves while discussing our readings in A-Push. Sometimes words just sound better in our heads. I was new to Salina in 6th grade. In middle school, I learned a lot of important lessons that I took with me into high school. At Salina Central, the greatest thing about every individual here is that we all come from different backgrounds, and we should celebrate that. Muhammad Ali once said, if they can make penicillin out of moldy bread, they can sure make something out of you. At Central, you become friends with kids who have it a little tougher at home, still manage to smile, and then there's the friends who seem to have it easy. And despite the different lives we live, we are all capable of doing something extraordinary. For some, that something is graduating today. I hope high school was filled with more laughter than tears. My hope is that you walk away today with a few great friends and a brain full of the essentials. And most importantly, never stop being proud of who you become with every new step. And I want to end by telling you now, if you haven't heard it a dozen times or more already, I'm so proud of you. But more importantly, I'm proud of us. Thank you, Central High. We are SC.
Thank you, Emily. That's an excellent closing speech. Will senior members of Free Spirit please join the choir for your final performance? Tonight, Free Spirit will be performing I Live in the Alma Mater. During the singing of the Alma Mater, the class of 2021, the Salina High School Central faculty and every Mustang in the audience, please stand.
When the moment comes,
vocalist and free spirit for the fantastic rendition of the alma mater anthem. It is my pleasure to introduce Assistant Principal Clay Metlin, who will present the academic gift.
Members of Thespian Troop 639 are wearing blue and yellow cords today. Senior thespians, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Members of the National Forensics League Honor Society are wearing red and gray cords. Senior members of the National Forensics Honor Society, please stand and be recognized. Members of the National FFA organization are wearing blue and gold cords tonight. FFA members, please stand and be recognized. Members of the Tri-M Music Honor Society are wearing pink cords tonight. Tri-M members, please stand and be recognized. Members of the Salina High School Central Robotics team are wearing red, silver, and blue cords today. Senior robotics members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Four-year members of the Salina High School Central Choir, Band, and Orchestra are also wearing pink cords tonight. Four-year choir members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. 101 CTE pathway completers are wearing cords in a variety of colors today as recognition for completing the USD 305 curriculum requirements in one of our designated pathways. In total, these 101 students represent 9 different fields: animal science, construction and design, digital media, engineering and applied mathematics, health science, power, structural and technical systems, restaurant and event management, teaching and training, and web and digital communications. Seniors recognized as being pathway completers, would you all please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Jobs for America's Graduates is a program designed to prepare students for life after high school. Students in JAG are wearing red, white, and blue cords today. Members of JAG, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Members of National Honor Society are wearing blue stoles today to symbolize their academic, civic, and leadership accomplishments. Members of the National Honor Society, please stand and be recognized. Each student that is in the top 10% of the senior class based upon 7th semester weighted GPA is wearing an academic honor medal with a maroon band. Will the top 10% of the senior class please stand and be recognized? Thank you. At this time, will the following students please stand? Spencer Angel, Avery Darby, and Reed McHenry. These 3 students have achieved the status as the top 1% of the senior class, and today are wearing an academic honor medal with a black band. Spencer, Avery, and Reed, we congratulate you on this tremendous accomplishment.
Mrs. Exline, it's my pleasure as the principal of Salina High School Central to certify to you and the USD 305 Board of Education that each of the students before you has met the graduation requirements set forth by the state of Kansas and Salina Public Schools. Our senior class officers will be reading the names of our graduates today. Please welcome Maxwell Schaefer and Emily Redding to the stage. During the presentation of diplomas, we ask all our guests to be considerate of all students during the reading of names and allow each name to be heard. Seniors, prepare to receive your diplomas.
Jordan Arlene Holstad. Cameron Paul Spencer James Angel. Camilla S. Arianes. Melissa Baker. Skylar Alexander Barnes. Shepard Grant Basinger. Austin R. Bailey. Cadence Melody Beamer. Elijah E. Bess. Emma Catherine Bettis. Dia Bamba. Emma N. Brady. Caden Aldrich Lee Redmeyer. Brooks Bernoulli. Jalise Lachey First. Ryan Dale Wesley. Jose Eudoro Colo. Elijah Cameron Campbell. Anna N. Perana. Brianne Renee Carlson. Chesley. Mackenzie Ann Clark. Nina Jaylene Clayson. Sawyer H. Cole. Bridget A. Conway. Josue Junior Cortez. Chase A. Corbett. Sophie M. Kraft. Joshua Ryan Cunningham. Kate T. Sear. Shayla Dow. Isaiah J. Decker. Carlos M. De Leon. Jacob O. De Leon. Emily Michelle Dennis. Syric Lee Jasper Dow. Toby Lynn Danae Duckworth. Chloe Marie Eaton Gonzalez. Jake A. Eisenhower. Nathan P. Farmer. Yorinelli Felix. Jamie Leanne Ferguson. Dawson Matthew Flax. Erin Nicole Flax. Liam J. Foley. Nolan C. Foley. Rebecca Autumn Rose Franklin. Madison Adair Freeman. Carter K. Fuller. Chase Gallimore. Isaiah Gamble. Magali Garcia Zacarias. Bradley C. Gallagher. Colin Edward Geisler. Reagan Bree Geisler. Cheyenne Dawn Gibson. Royce Colton Jin. Matthew Aaron Glenn. Asia Helen Marie Jones. Justice J.B. Gonzalez. Juliana Zena Marie Good. Marcos Granado Flores. Kaylee Ray Graves. Trisha Lacey Charlotte Gray. McCabe Lee Green. Annie Greer. Dominic Edward Grimes. Gavin J. Gustafson. Nelson R. Gooch. Jalen Tershell Adler. McKenna Lynn Payne. Joe Thomas Hall Jr. Darren S. Emerson. McKelty J. Hastings. Amanda Beth Hayes. Hal Jennings Heath. Charles Montgomery Meisner. Thomas N. Hemmer.
Dylan N. Henning. Aiden Elise Hernandez. Haley Marie Herping. Thalia A. Herman. Jaden L. Herwig. Dakota S. Hogan. Lauren Isaiah Holberg. Xavier R. Jackson. Alexis G. Yasko. Emily Erica Jenkins. Miranda Jenkins. Kaylee S. Jennings. Josue Jimenez. Serenity N. Jensen. Emily Parrish Johanna Johnson. Jeremiah R. Johnson Jr. Zachary L. Johnson. Ryan Christine Jordan. Dawson D. Keller. Reagan Kendall. Caden August Keycaker. Emily Jean Kushnishka.
Angel Lara Mendez. Trent A. Wiskowski. Joseph Leigh Lawton. Sophie A. Linquist. DeQuestion A. Lewis. Lopez Ian. Davina M. Madera. Mackenzie Marion. Trenton A. Marshall. Alexis N. Martinez. Maria N. Martinez. Minerva C. Martinez. Sophia Dawn Martinez. Seth G. Marvin. Brooklyn S.C. McBride. Lucas E. Reed McHenry. Macy Danielle McMullen. Alan T. McMurray. Joshua R. Meyer. Jose Miguel Pedro. Madison M. Miller. Miley Ann Miller. Preston J. Miller. Zoe Allison Mitchell. Olivia Dean Moore. Oswaldo M. Moreno. Aaron Moreno. Adrian Moreno. Brett L.K. Morgan. Juliana Munoz Chavez. Capri S. Myers. Madeline N. Nash. Joshua Andrew James Neal. Reese Tazio Ritano Nesson. Mercedes I. Nunez. Andrea Jo Pack. Kelsey Ann Pasley. Jay Kumar Patel. Brennan C. Navy. Shane Perez. Lincoln Pettyjohn. Joelle Therese Monensteel. Demetria Ray Piper. Daily Picasso. Jolie Isabella Pickrell. Michaela Lynn Pierce. Kyla Dawn Pittenger. Kelly Ann Fox. Charles Franklin Crowe Jr. Hannah Nicole Queen. Austin Caleb Raggett. Sydney Summer Rahman. Asael Eliel Ramirez Quinones. Haven R. Rapp. Avery L. Regier. Rosara Renteria. Ariana Anthony Richard. Cami Jean Robinson. Annette Rodriguez. Alexis V. Ronnie Franco. Isabella Rubino. Hollister Nicholas Ryan. William Richard Ryan. David Angel Santos. Brenda Leanne Seiler. Rafael Serrano Ortega. Annie Marie Shadwick. Jacob Paul Scott Shane. Ryan Chandler Shane. Simon Payne Sheets. Zoe Elizabeth Sims. Avery Love Smith. Aiden K. Spear. Caden E. Spencer. James Ryan Spagnardi. Braden D. Stapp. Regan Elizabeth Stein. Andrew Jacob Strait. Levi Sean Anthony Sutton. Cooper F. Taggart. Bailey Marie Talbot. Lily Coupenel. Gavin L. Turner. Kevin Ashley Turner. Emerson Reese Turpin. Kobe J. Manderford. Brett Walter Verslis. Michaela D. Verslis. Jasmine May Vineyard. Lillian B. Welsh. Chloe D. White. Terry Deshawn Williams. Nicole C.B. Whitman. Olivia Armelia Nettling. Chase Eugene Young. Arturo Zepeda Jr. Patrick A. Zerbeck.
Avery Marielle Darby. Emily Rose Strumman. Emily Marie Redden. Maxwell C. Schaefer.
I welcome our guests to join the graduates outside the arena immediately following today's celebration to continue the celebration. It is my honor and privilege to present to you the Salina High School class of 2021.